You know, some mysteries, they're like old cold cases. The trail of evidence gets fainter and fainter, the witnesses are long gone, and all we're left with are these faded sketches and conflicting reports. So today, we're going to open a file that's been cold for over 200 years. A case where the line between monster and misidentification is beautifully and stubbornly blurred.
So our story starts right here, in the remote and rugged Orkney Islands of Scotland. This is a place where the North Atlantic and the North Sea literally collide. We're in the autumn of 1808. A massive storm has just battered the island of Stronsay. And as the winds finally die down, well, the sea gives up a secret.
Picture this. It's September 26th. A local fisherman, a guy named John Peace, is out in his boat. He sees a whole flock of seabirds going crazy over something, and he spots what he figures is a dead whale on the rocks. But as he gets closer, he realizes it's something else entirely, something he has never, ever seen before.
And let me tell you, what John Peace found that day, it kicked off a scientific debate that would stretch all the way from these tiny shores of Orkney to the grand halls of Edinburgh and London. An unidentified carcass had washed ashore, and just like that, a mystery was born. And this is what they saw. This sketch, which was based on the accounts from the people who were there, is our very first look at the creature that would become known as the Stronsay beast. It's long, it's got this serpentine neck, and it has these features that, well, they just don't make any sense.
So things started moving pretty fast. After Peace first sees it, another storm rolls in and almost conveniently pushes the whole thing right onto the beach. Now everyone can get a good look. By November, the story is so wild that witnesses are actually being called to give sworn testimony, and the case officially lands on the desks of Scotland's top naturalists.
All right, so what did these people actually say they saw? Because their descriptions, that's what turned this from just a strange find into a full-blown monster hunt. Okay, get ready for this, because the details they gave were, wow. They were super specific and super weird. 3 different men, one of them a carpenter who brought a foot rule, measured the creature at 55 feet long. They described a 15-foot neck, not 1, not 2, but 3 pairs of legs or paws, and a bristly mane down its back that, they swore, glowed in the dark when it was wet. This was nothing like any known animal in the sea.
And here's the thing you've got to understand. These weren't just tall tales told over a pint. The local authorities took these reports so seriously that 4 of the main witnesses were brought before a magistrate to swear an oath on the truth of what they saw. Back in 1808, that was a huge deal. It gave their monster story this official stamp of credibility.
Okay, so now you've got sworn testimony. You've got actual physical samples, vertebrae, bits of skull, making their way to Edinburgh. The scientific community had to respond. And their first conclusion? Man, it was a bold one.
They actually gave it a name, Hausudris pontopidani. It's a mouthful, but what it means is Pontopidans water snake of the sea. They were basically declaring it a brand new species of sea serpent. Based on everything they had, the naturalists in Edinburgh believed they had found the first hard evidence of the great sea snakes from sailors' legends.
So you see the dynamic here, right? On one hand, you have local witnesses, guys who knew the sea, providing this incredible story. On the other hand, you have the scientific authority of the day, Dr. John Barclay, who completely trusted their testimony and used the physical remains to back up their claims. So, case closed? Not even close.
Because while everyone in Edinburgh is patting themselves on the back for discovering a new species, there's this skeptical anatomist down in London, Sir Everard Home. And he's looking at the exact same evidence and coming to a completely different conclusion. He thought the monster was just an illusion. And he asked this really simple but powerful question. What if the witnesses weren't lying at all? What if they were telling the absolute truth about what they saw? But what they saw was just a familiar animal that had been totally transformed by the natural process of decay.
Okay, so this is the heart of his theory. Just follow me on this. Picture a huge basking shark carcass, right? As it starts to decompose, its massive jaw and gills just fall off. What's left is a tiny skull on a long, exposed spine. And what does that look like? A small head on a long neck. Then the dorsal fin rots away, and its tough, fibrous rays look just like a bristly mane. The bottom half of the tail, it drops off, leaving what looks like a long, serpentine tail. And finally, its pectoral and pelvic fins, plus a male shark's claspers, get distorted and look exactly like 3 pairs of legs.
And when you see it side by side, wow, the resemblance is it's undeniable. On the left, there's that original sketch of the Stronsay beast. On the right, a real photo of a decayed basking shark. All of a sudden, the so-called monster starts to look very, very familiar.
So this basically set the stage for a really fascinating scientific showdown. It pitted 2 brilliant minds and 2 very different ideas about science right up against each other.
So you've got John Barclay in one corner in Edinburgh. He believed the witnesses, and he used the physical evidence to support their monster story. And in the other corner, you have Sir Everard Home in London. He discounted the witnesses entirely, and he used the very same bones to prove they were simply mistaken. It's a classic battle, really. Eyewitness testimony versus scientific authority.
Now, the basking shark theory, it's really neat, right? It's compelling. It seems to explain everything except for one really big, really inconvenient fact that just keeps this case from closing.
55 feet. That's the length of the Stronsay beast. And it wasn't just one guy who said so. It was measured on the shore by 3 different men. They were absolutely sure about that number. 55 feet. And here's the problem. The absolute biggest basking shark ever scientifically measured, the kind of giant of the species. It topped out at just over 40 feet long.
That's a difference of almost 15 feet. And that is a huge problem for the basking shark theory. So you have to ask, were the witnesses that wrong with their measurements? Or was the creature they found something far, far larger than any shark known to science?
And really, that's where the case still stands today. That 15-foot gap, it's never been explained. Over 2 centuries, pretty much all of the physical evidence has just disappeared. All that's left are 3 vertebrae sitting in a museum. And you won't believe this, but modern attempts to get DNA off those fragments, they've all failed.
So it leaves us with this incredible question, doesn't it? Was this Stronsay beast just a perfect storm of circumstances? A decaying shark, some unreliable measurements, and a bunch of people who were just really eager to believe in monsters? Or, and this is the fun part, just maybe, did a group of fishermen back in 1808 stumble upon something truly unknown? A creature whose identity, even after 200 years, remains lost to the depths. The case file is still open,